2-0'd EDG, which opens up the window for a massive brawl at potentially 2 and 4 in terms of getting through into that last spot from Group A. FPX, if they win even a game here, would be big for them. We're massively sprinting through the draft.
Yeah, we're just flying through, as it is JDG that'll get that Tristana Prio. Do they just want to lock up both ADCs? Makes sense. Getting Tristana and Kalista is very powerful.
I mean, the thing is, you really want Ruler on someone which you can take over those late game fights on. He's struggled to always find himself a champion to do that with. The game they lost against TT with the Xayah was his Xayah that got locked out of that game. So he has to think sometimes. He sometimes gets humbled when he locks in those big champions and he has to find something else. Zeri against the Leona with the Rel as well, or whatever it is for missing. Something big tanky engage would be really on the docket there for missing. Need to give something for Ruler to stand behind in team fights.
You see Alistar. I like that pick. I think Alistar is just better Rel now that Rel's not a flex. So glad to see that. Felio Sahaba, I think Ezreal makes a lot of sense. We did see a really good Ezreal out of TT in that last game. And,
well, Dogdam is the Aphelios Ezreal guy. He plays both as champions to an exceedingly high level. In fact, one of the criticisms across his career is that Dogdam only really played a handful of champions, particularly the Ezreal, and his Aphelios was so ridiculously strong. But it felt like he had a handful of champions he was very good at, and then other things just weren't matching that. Now, mind you, the last time that JDG and FPX faced each other was when FPX were in their slump, but in spring, when FPX were in full form, they 2-0'd JDG. So there's definitely potential here for FPX to revisit that record. You can see that one of the picks which they used to destroy JDG in spring was Ashe, Rumble, bot lane, immediately banned away earlier. Still, Dogdam and Life get themselves some comfort. They have the double AD carry as well. Both teams have very tanky supports. There needs to be some magic damage somewhere in here. You can't go for the Ziggs. You've locked in your AD carries already. Rumble's gone for the top line. So it wouldn't surprise me to see a lot of AP junglers start copping it as well.
Yeah, Brand being taken out immediately. Twisted Fate, actually the second ban. Do we see FPX using the first pick to lock up the Karthus?
I wonder.
Where I believe. Yeah, assuming it's not banned here.
The thing is, both of these junglers... Look, fact of the matter is, Karthus is a great jungle pick. Teams love Nidalee, and I don't know how to explain this. We just really like playing Nidalee, even though the champion is really hard to play. Thing is, Milky Way and Kanavi are both exceptionally powerful individual junglers. It would not surprise me to see Nidalee locked in here for Milky Way so we can bully out Kanavi. I think any good game plan for FPX to beat JDG does start with shutting down Kanavi. That might be an okay lock-in, and then you look for counterpick and topside for Shallow, who hopefully was something that can combo up to that as a chance. But no, right now, not hovering.
Lilia. I mean, I'd love to see a Lilia. I think it makes sense with this comp as well. Okay. Can just sort of dance around the front line.
Good secondary engage option too. So the Leona goes in, the Lilia follows up. Lilia hates being primary engaged. You need someone to go in for you. Means that you swell seed is much easier to hit. Means that people are scattering away, and then you can start flashing for Qs after they've used their CC or their escape abilities. So FPX, really good combo between their jungle support to start off a fight. But JDG, they can definitely find themselves a strong combo to answer. The Kasansei can stop some of that entrance into the fight by holding W in front of you, going unstoppable. Kanavi, star player for JDG. We said the Nidalee is important. We said it could be a takeaway for Milky Way.
You invoke this.
I mean, this champion is so powerful. And I have to say, Kanavi is one of the few players I will very much be excited to watch because he's such a talented early pressure jungler. It gets locked in. He has himself some setup in the Alistar. Not much outside of that, though. On an individual level, I think the Nidalee is not bad. But playing with so little setup is never a great thing.
Yeah, I feel like, look, Kanavi is the kind of player that can pull this out, but he does need to work hard. And it's just... it gets harder and harder to the point where eventually the owner can just kind of play bouncer and really deny you any access to the fight.
You know, one thing which I've just realized about Kanavi's Nidalee and some of them, he has not died on the champion. He is completely unkilled. His 2 games on the Nidalee, despite our complaints about it, have been 10, 0, and 10, and then 6, 0, and 17 on the champion. Of the players in the LPL to play the Nidalee, if it's Tien or Kanavi, I feel very, very differently about it than a mid to bottom table team. in their own groups. So, despite it not having that much setup, it's still worth mentioning. I still think it's a difficult composition to play through it. Nothing like that TF gold card, nothing like the point-and-click CC, which can be really, really powerful. We do see FPX walking away with a very strong teamfight combo, but if Kanavi can get off the ground and use that Nidalee to start just romping across the map, maybe they don't even get to them.
Maybe. But it's going to be a interesting one to see. It should be an explosive game either way.
So, again, stakes, really, really important. FPX, if they lose this series, things get really messy for the last qualification. With TT winning earlier in the day against JDG, it opens up some very special three-way ties that could be resolved in all manner of ways through to the end of things. JDG, they have still only lost a single game throughout the entire first round robin and then going through to the second as well. That was versus TT. FPX have yet to do that. The last time FPX faced JDG was when they were under the weather of their own drama. They have another chance right now to see if it can even things up.
Trying to give a bit of space for the crowd that I can't hear, but it's all right.
One thing I've noticed is that, so the way that we do this, because we have the clean feed, which helps us hear the game stats. Wonderful. Not all the clean feeds are exactly the same volume, so when you have to switch between them, if somebody's really loud, I jump scared chat once when we had like 1,000,000 decibels come out. And then we switched back to another stream. It's like, oh, can't hear anything right now. So look, we deal with that. You'll hear a little bit in the background as well as we, trust me, the crowd was there.
Just a little fun fact. I cast the first ever professional Lilia game.
Really?
Because it was the VCS winter split was when Lilia came out. She was she came out during playoffs for most regions, like summer playoffs, so she was banned all of Worlds.
Right? Was that 2020?
Yeah.
Yeah.
2021.
Not because I remember it because that was the year when V3 won the LGL and Boogie was really good at that pick.
It was 2020.
So it was 2020.
It was 2020.
I remember that, and I also
because it was during the winter split, so no other leagues were playing.
That was that really fun time where that was when, you know, I started doing LJL stuff. You'd been doing VCS stuff. Did you start the year before? I know obviously Yulo was doing that for forever, but no, that was the kind of time where we started seeing a lot of people learning from other regions just around them. Of course, LPL sometimes looks down at them and casts a quizzical eyebrow to see if they're playing things well. But particularly that Lilia has such a powerful pick for a long time. It's been really fun to see players of the champion return to it. It was such a power pick back in 2020. Kanavi was one of the best players of it in the entire damn world, actually, in his own right. That was on his that was in his era where he was just really good at just always perma-invading on the Lilia to get Raptors down. Now he gets to perma-invade on the Nidalee instead.
I think 2019 we started VCS, but here's an invade, not an invade, a gank coming in. Flash already burned, Care going low, Care going down.
That is such a lazy position in lane for Care. What's he doing pushed up like that? Milky Way can't help him, and we said Kanavi has to get shut down. That has immediately failed.
Yeah, that is a bit of a disaster. Now Milky Way pressured, tagged up. Oh no, this is getting worse and worse as he just really doesn't have anywhere to go. Spear will miss. Does land a good Q, flashes over the wall, but Kanavi follows. Didn't have to use it mid.
I mean,
oh dear.
Kanavi, he's just going to keep going. Dear. He has Conqueror stacked.
Care is still here. They've got the reset. They're just going to get a third.
I mean, there's the hot
Kanavi finally goes down. Yeah, he's going to get the speed buff. Should have Boomerang coming up soon. Yagao on the run. Doesn't have the W. Zhao who should get 2 back, but what on earth just happened?
I mean, folks, what did we say? Any good plan for FPX to win this game has to be through shutting down Kanavi. That's failed, folks. Yes, the kills do go over to Shallow, that might be a bit of a problem because he's just got 2 kills and double buffs in a range versus melee matchup. So Shallow, he now has to recover something of this early game. Kanavi's gone back, got full tier 2 boots and a Dark Seal. He is so happy with things. And it starts off, this is after he's already killed someone in mid lane. He goes through, lands a spear onto Milky Way through that. Ends up getting himself huge amounts of damage because he has that Conqueror early and this huge damage of Nidalee goes through for a huge assassination. It feels like just FPX were just completely unprepared for this Nidalee. As we said, this is his first death on the champion so far in summer.
Yeah, and another breakout of a fight. Jalla, who using those kills he was donated to pick up a third.
Yeah, somehow, I mean, he gets the 1v2 on topside. We said Shallow. If it's going to be Kanavi picking up all these early kills, it's Shallow on the other side who needs to recoup some value. Very important counter kill back because it just keeps that advantage of top lane ticking over. So it's not one-sided. Despite our praise of Kanavi, Shallow, now also at 3 kills, might just be able to become a huge threat in a side lane. He loves playing side lanes and playing duelists. The Gnar with 3 kills very much counts as that now.
Yeah, I mean, this is such a crazy early game. We were talking about, oh, if Kanavi gets going, this is a disaster. But Kanavi getting going at the cost of the Gnar getting going. Let's have a look at how this presumably solo kill played out.
Yeah, Flandrian manages to get that W3, but he's got the red buff on him already. Look, Mega Gnar base damages are absolutely absurd. It's another wallop that comes here. Basically, Shallow, who hits all his stuff, has red buff, just kills him with the base damages, and Kanavi couldn't quite save Flandre. Of course, Flandre is starting over Sheer today. Sheer has... I don't exactly know what JDG are planning with their top lane. Sheer is a kind of young laning prodigy that's come up through JDG's ranks. I don't even know if Sheer was playing even in LDL. This guy was just a pickup from out of nowhere, but he's done very well for JDG when they've subbed him in, but Flandre is that old god of the top lane for LPL. It's just been a bit of a surprise to think about when they are picking Sheer and Flandre. There doesn't seem to be any rhyme or reason for it just now. Typically, Flandre is the person who soaks up pressure well instead of being the hyper carry from top lane in the way that Sheer can more likely be. He needs to be soaking a lot of that pressure now.
Yeah, and look, I'm beginning to think that maybe Cassante is not a good champion. Maybe he needs a buff.
Don't you start with that. Don't you dare start with that weird scene. Far enough for this champion for the lap. Wait, how long is it? Has he been out for 2 years? He's been out for like 2.5 years of this one. But
it feels like 10.
But yeah, every time he presses his R button, I'm just sat there like, ah, yes, this is why this champion is a problem. Kanavi gets 2 of these early grubs. Now, we don't see, typically, a lot of contest for these early objectives. Only really top... I've been saying this a lot. Basically, top esports consistently force you to fight around one of the early objectives. Most of the time, people trade between them. Kanavi gets 2 of those grubs on top side. Is still around to contest for the dragon on bot side. So maybe Kanavi can also do a bit of that contest around the early objectives.
Yeah, I mean, like, they do get the 2 grubs traded back. Maybe that means that the second set of grubs will actually be a flashpoint for them, because they need to keep Snowball and Kanavi. Fighting around Dragon also does make a fair bit of sense for JDG, because it's just the hardest place for Jallahu to get down to.
So, Kanavi, once again, invading. Once again, tracking the enemy jungler, forcing life to roam over to that play as well. Yeah, Flandre trying to do his best there. Get missing going. Oh my god, the damage!
That is a huge amount of damage. Life going incredibly low. They don't actually finish him off. The sleep was perfect. Kanavi falls. FPX have turned this one around. No last auto attack there for Yagao. Denies the reset. It's a game of inches, and FPX have run a mile.
Kanavi hadn't died at all on this champion until this game, and he's died twice now in 7 minutes, despite the fact that he's got off to such a rip-roaring start. FPX, we were hoping they had returned to form. Right now, they're at least going blow for blow in the early game, even enough in gold. You can see that, top lane's such a big advantage for FPX as well, as we've already mentioned. What are we going to get a replay of here? Of course, this bot side skirmish and how this came through. Huge damage coming through onto life, but immediate ignite turnaround, immediate CC into CC. He's gone for the Sork Pen boots. Of course, you have to really on the Nidalee, but that we're already finding the problems you find later into the game on this champion. You get CC'd, you die.
You absolutely do, and this is such a huge swing back here for FPX. I was really, really worried after Kanavi got rolling. I was thinking, I don't think a Gnar really equalizes that, but this misplay around the bottom side, or mismanagement of their abilities, I suppose probably the better way to put it. Milky Way doesn't let that red buff get stolen either. FPX are fighting back.
That is something they're going to have to keep up. Shallow has a shutdown, so it'd be a valuable kill to get.
Yeah, missing. Doing well, but a flash there from Jalla, who denies the follow-up.
Right, so it's going to be flash out. That gives a bit of a reprieve up here. It means that the next time that they overextend, chance for a spear to end their entire career, and that's towards that top side. What's happening next in terms of the objectives? Dragon, yet to be taken. We saw that, of course, Kanavi went for the invade into bot side instead of going towards a dragon take. That got them killed. And it does mean that they lost that opportunity to potentially go towards that other objective. We've seen a couple of late dragons in LPL recently. It feels like a lot of these early spiking junglers like the Nidalee just want to be killing people instead of wasting time on the dragon. Now, because of that, they lost that opportunity on bot side. FPX get to move over instead, and they get themselves onto the objective board more solidly than just the one grub that they got before. That's nice for them as well. If they can get themselves a couple of dragons, it feels like they might just be able to seal a little bit of ground, even if JDG wants to take later dragons and start getting towards real points of power where hopefully the Nidalee gets less valuable. Still strong for now, though.
Yeah, look, but I do think that's a bit of a disaster that they haven't got that first dragon with the accelerated Nidalee. This is the problem with Nidalee that we so often see is she is going to fall off, and it's just going to become, Ruler, have you gotten big enough to actually put this game on your back?
True. And then also, I mean, he has the cleanse, and he does have an Alistar in front of him. We have seen Ruler do some insane things in team fights. It has become less common, though, ever since Knight and 369 left the team. Good trade there in mid lane for Yagao. Does starts disengaging up with the bust shot and the extra damage there too. But particularly with losing the best solo laners of each role, even though they've replaced them with good names, there's just no replacing the likes of 369 and Knight, who are very good at buying space for Ruler and just being those peel gods that they could be. Ruler needs to do a lot more of his own stunts nowadays, and it's been obviously much harder to do that as an AD carry when you don't have 369, who is the god of peel, in your back pocket.
Yeah, exactly. JDG do lock themselves up the second set of grubs, so we'll move up to 5. Not quite the 6 we've seen in the previous games that were so game determinative for TT, but yes. 5 is not too bad.
Yeah, you still take that. You still have the Tristana, so yes, TT did in fact run through 4 turrets in about a minute to make sure they could end the game. Ruler has ult, he got the slow, forced the flash out of Dogdam. Dogdam, we've had mixed results from this guy over his career in the LPL. Of course, came in over from the LCK, was on down 1 for quite some, I think it was down 1 for quite some time, where he had, again, very mixed opinions about him. He's had some fantastic games, specifically against JDG at points, but he's still been quite inconsistent amongst that. His Ezreal, need to see him justify this pick in its early spike. He needs to really get some value out of this, and hopefully he can be a good secondary carry here for FPX alongside the likes of Care and Milky Way. Of course, Care himself has also had his own problems in this roster too. He walked up and died for that first blood across mid lane. FPX need a good step up today from their carries.
Something that else is worth pointing out, as we're seeing on the screen, is Yagao has almost taken mid lane tower. He's gotten 4 tower plays. He's really putting Care under his thumb.
Oof. And so, in fact, I was talking with Sotsa, who is a coach for Berlin International Gaming, one of the ERL teams over in the Prime League. He was talking about this matchup quite a lot when we were watching this matchup the other day. When you go press the attack on Tristana, you get a lead in your lane. The game affects... Well, even if the lead goes against you, the Tristana's lane ends because you can't regen as well. Your lane falls apart. If you get a lead with press the attack Tristana, oh my word, this champion just starts shredding through things. You can't stand up in lane. You don't get to take those kind of detriment, those attritional trades and kind of come back with your fleet footwork on the side as the Corki takes first tower solo with 5 grubs. None of needing the Herald, nothing like that. Yagao 2.5k up individually in the mid lane. That's absurd.
Yeah, I mean, Yagao has like sort of quietly climbed to this point where I was talking about Ruler needing to put things on his back. Maybe Yagao can get this done, sort of maybe do what UCal couldn't in game 1 of the last series that we watched.
You see Doctor missing out that cube, still trading back well. Minions helping, Ruler popping the ult.
Yeah, moving forward onto Jokdam. A lot of damage coming out, trading back. Ooh, that one spell being missed there.
Missing, he has Flash Ignite.
Missing, yeah, he's going to come in. You mess with the bull, you get the horns. In he goes. 1, 2, 3. Ezreal's dead.
Man, Doctor, we said that he needed to really have a good performance here. Hope that you can hold steady while Shallow, who has his own individual lead, losing out in a play like that to Ruler's Zeri. That's a problem. Ruler has done some disgusting things on this champion before, and it should really strike fear into the hearts of most LPL teams. The fact that this champion is back purely because Ruler also exists within the league. Yagao, while the play was made on bot side, hovers top side as well. JDG playing both sides of the map and making sure that Shallow, who doesn't get complete free push on top side. We have Dragon spawning in the next minute. We have Herald spawning soon as well. Despite the fact that FPX did well to recover the initial slew of kills going over to Kanavi, need to be really careful. If they give over a bad fight to the Tristana with 5 grubs. I think this game is going to snowball out of control very, very quickly. And this game, despite starting well, might not nearly end as close.
Yeah, JDG now picking themselves up this Herald. Really no contest possible for FPX. There is just way too much power around here. And they've obviously rotated Xiaolahu down to the bottom side. So even there, big carry is nowhere near.
Okay, so, Herald over to JDG. This is so scary for FPX. I mean, what do? You're going to lose all of your towers. You have no turret. You barely even have turret damage down on the other side. Never mind a full tower. There's a Herald on the other side with 5 grubs, with multiple people who can hit turrets very, very well. They might just teleport onto Yagao just to see if they can shut down this cross map. Yeah,
now can he find his way out? He has no E to reset the jump. Does have flash.
Oh, the Zenith Blade!
But caught out and bang!
I mean, Life just gets ping-pong back, and he just zooms back forwards. This dude's just got himself an absolute whiplash as he gets the CC chain. The teleport comes down onto a side lane. That's how you answer part of it. They have to use the teleport to save the other side of the map, but JDG, while all this is happening, still have the Herald to throw somewhere onto the map. FPX, though, as things stand, managed to get themselves a good break in play, get themselves a tower, and stop JDG from completely crushing the map.
Yeah, it was funny. Tristana buffered the Leona ult, and then Leona went, ha, look what I can do.
That's so funny. It is just the double buffer. Haha, I managed to immune most of your CC. This is so funny. Goes on of gaps. I mean, that is the kind of thing which fighter pilots train for. That amount of G-force, it's not healthy for your brainstem.
Yeah, like, Leona is now a liquid, but contained within the armor.
Oh, that's fantastic. Like, yeah, the nervous system, it's seen better days, folks. Ruler zoomed in as he fails that hop over the wall. Look, the LPL observers, they like to be a bit savage. Can we get ourselves a big fight around the dragon? Seems like people are here waiting to do so. Flandre looking to push out top side, threaten that top side turret with the 5 grubs, and maybe teleport in for a dragon fight. As it stands, FPX caught that first one missing, maybe caught out, low HP.
Yeah, a bit of damage going in, but Leona ult now on cooldown. Milky Way started up the dragon. Spear lands, but only onto life. Not really something you want to follow up hard onto. Kanavi looking for a way in, but the dragon's positioned really nicely. FPX will just steal that one away. Flandre TPs, but they're already evacuating.
Look, a lesser Alistair player would have immediately headbutt Pulve and flash for the 4-man combo. I don't think JDG had the follow-up. I'm kind of suspect. Yeah, I'm a little bit suspects on why they didn't stick around top lane a little longer. Flandre seems like a bit of a cheap TP. If he managed to stick around top lane to get that out of turret, would have been nice to get him the individual gold to stand up against Xiaolahu. Instead, they're going to give it over to Yagao, who has, of course, got an insane amount of gold. Maybe they're just trying to say, well, we could have taken the top lane turret, but if Yagao gets it himself, it's more valuable for the team.
Yeah, that's definitely a theory, as Flandre gets chunked down.
Very polite of you.
Look, if that's what they were thinking, then they're right. But I don't know if that's what they were thinking, as Care and Yagao meet in a brush. Just have a little bit of a back and forth, as we do. We are on the Chemtech Rift once again. Kanavi still need to be watching him. He is still in his power spike. He still needs to be the one in the driver's seat here.
He has so much damage. If he ever hits a spear on someone, no one's walking out of that with the Lich Bane now. I feel like that is such a big point in power. The thing about pro Ezreal's, no, not Ezreal's, the pro at least, for some reason we go for Leandri second. It gives you some weird poke in regards to your traps. Thing is, as we talk about points of power, Xiaolahu has been monstering this top side. Xiaolahu is very much the kind of player who, Flandre, I feel like he respects him, because Xiaolahu is the kind of player that will go 5-0, in this case 4-0, or 0-4. Flandre has been doing that before this kid has even touched a keyboard. He's been doing that ever since 2015. This guy was always, there was an era in LPL around about the time when EDG won MSI where Chinese top laners fell in love with playing the tank initiator style of top laners in the way that Kuro 1 did to win that MSI in 2015. Mm-hmm. Flandre said no to that. He was the kind of guy that would want to say, no, I want to be the carry instead. And the shame was we didn't get to see him internationally in that period of time, despite him being such a good carry top laner. Very flippy at the same time, though. He's always willing to take a 1v1. So we've got two players who very much appreciate style of play on the other sides of the rift.
We do. I mean, look, Flandre still being around.
Incredible, honestly. That longevity. Man.
Incredible. Yeah, it's an impressive amount of time to still be around and still be on a top team as well. You don't see that in too many players.
That's really what you've got. I guess Someday, Keen, Impact, a couple of names like that. The Shy, of course, been around for a little while now too.
Faker.
Of course, Faker. In terms of the top player, yeah, okay, Faker's the one thing. In terms of top players, I feel like we've got weirdly some players that have stuck around for a very long time. You could even say Odawame as well for European players. And a few others around that. JDG, use that Herald. We said that was important. They have the 5 grubs. So easy to cleave through these turrets and more gold. This time split across the players of JDG. Inner turrets give you so much gold when you take them down from the side lane. Something like 700 gold for an inner turret kill now. It's a very good injection of cash. Shallow Who is pushing out top lane, but that wave is going to get caught all the same. JDG, they slow things down just a little bit. Worth noting, JDG in 2023, they were sometimes more proactive. They were happy to mid-game fight, but we did know them for occasional mid-game, early-game explosiveness. We've gotten back more, though, away to the Yugao era of 2020 to 2022, that sort of era, where it felt like JDG, outside of Kanavi doing his early antics, which he absolutely has done this game, do wait for that big item breakpoints where they get that one explosive mid-game fight. Feels like we're waiting for that again. They've decided discretion is the better part of Valor, and see if they can find themselves those big items before they try and finally explode this game.
Flandre is personifying the top lane dream. Just steps up, clears the wave, walks back to his tower to let HP regen happen, steps up, clears the wave. He will do this on repeat.
We are ping-ponging well and truly. Shallow Who, though, nah, he's got teammates nearby. Realistically, surely you can't finish this off. Life, though, he's caught out. He has flash, might be forced to use it. He fails it!
Ooh, Life just cleaned up.
Yeah, that one's a bit of an oopsie. Had the flash, panics, goes straight into the wall, can't clear the obstacle, face plants and dies. JDG, they currently have, you know, enemy support down. They can go straight onto the Baron, and JDG take one mistake, and this might just explode the game. Exactly what FPX didn't want.
Yeah, they are spotted out. Flandre here to play Gatekeeper. Milky Way needs to find his way through him, and he needs to find his way through him quickly, but no chance as the spike comes in. Care, and to get away, JDG are able to easily exit the pit.
Clean denial into the pit by Flandre, uses the all-out to drag Milky Way further away from the play. Dragon is now spawned. Yugao wants to get a chunk out of Doctam. Gets the flash instead of that chunk. FPX, maybe they can force JDG into a bad trade while they haven't reset off of the gold from the Baron. And with the honey fruit here, feels like the HP bar is still fine for JDG.
Yeah, I mean, Milky Way still has access to this lilting lullaby as well. Can still make a big play off this. Missing chunked out as the ultimate. Nothing really was used in the Baron fight, so both teams still pumping on all cylinders. FPX are being forced back and just getting chunked by Ruler. There it is, Lightning Crash comes out. Good Zeri up, Leona ult to hold the Zeri up. But Dragon is secured and Life has been made into death.
Well, that one's been a bit of a common occurrence, sadly, in this game for the poor Leona from FPX. What FPX do, they give over the Dragon, and they take themselves that top lane turret as recompense. Problem is, you're against that Baron and the 5 grubs. Even though you have a strong split push it, you gotta wave clear some of these waves, and they're not able to do so. So, Baron power play still looking pretty healthy for JDG. They still have another 2 minutes of it left. They can potentially look to push this top wave in during that time and get themselves the last of those inner turrets. Well, FPX need to find a way to either find a fight to stop the full power push in, or just seed a little bit more gold.
Yeah, and I just feel like they needed to pull the trigger on an engage there. Milky Way had a couple of tags on the Tristana. I feel like maybe making it perfect the enemy of good there. Obviously, you really want to get a sleep on Yugao and Ruler, but I don't think that's going to happen. You've got to pick one.
And I think that well, we're gonna do the Savage Deserving again. Yeah. There ain't there
isn't even a thick wall.
There's not much to say about that one except cursor placement, not great. I mean, what else do you say? Fails the flash, and it really sucks that it feels like against JDG, this was very much the case last year, and I think this has carried on into this year too, even though with the change of the solo lanes and whatever. JDG are a very punishing team. If you make a small mistake, they know how to take a lot out of it, like pushing up in a side lane. Shallow, who has flash, probably gonna have to use it.
Yeah, he's about to go Mega now. Can try and get a Hopway good flash away from the Alistar engage. Uses that ultimate, but Yugao cuts him down.
It's just not enough. Shallow over pushes. JDG still have the last of the Baron buff. They won't be able to go in and take that top lane in a turret, but they'll be able to take the split, push it down, take some of that gold with it, and some of the threat on side lanes. JDG, they don't break the base on the Baron buff, which will be something that FPX are happy with. It's not the biggest power play ever, but it's still a power play. And you can see that JDG, as they control one of these side lanes in the mid lane as well, they just drop a load of wards with it. FPX, they are really struggling now for a lot of their ability to have information to play the game with. They lose themselves a buff. They lose themselves so much across the map. Kanavi goes in and takes as much farm. We were going to check up on this as well. He has himself a almost 3,000 individual gold lead. Even with a composition, that's not that easy to play the Nidalee with. Kanavi, he gets the Nidalee pass. He gets this champion like in his active champion pool because he can do stuff like this. Folks, if you're not on a top LPL team or you're not carried in the LCK, try not to use this pick, man. It's just play the other AP farmers. They're so much easier.
You are not Kanavi.
What is it that back when the Ashe Varus bot lane came in from
You
T1,
are not carrier.
yeah, it's like you're not carrier. Your teammates are not T1. You can't always play these difficult to execute champions. Kanavi is one of those players that can though, and JDG, they're going to start pushing in towards the top side. 5 grubs, remember, they can kill turrets very quickly.
Yeah, and Yagao is just lobbing nuclear bombs out as anyone he touches is just getting absolutely melted. On the other side of that, Care does pick up a consolation tower, but that's just not where the focus is at the moment.
And it absolutely is a constellation. Care hasn't even had the gold early game to go towards a tier and stack up towards a Manamune, which would have come online around about now. He's on a Fire Cannon Triforce. It's not even the IE. He is out of this game, whereas JDG firmly in it in all positions. Even Flandre down individually can still team fight well. We saw what he did around that Baron pip. JDG will take that last inner turret, and yeah, FPX, I mean, what do you hope for now? I mean, even if you get yourself a Miracle Sleep, there's cleanses on Ruler, there's a QS toss on Yagao, so you can't even get the carries. They have flashes, Kanavi has stopwatch, there's even a Warbugs on Missing. That's the new support meta, where they just heal up for infinite. So even if you poke them out, this just feels like JDG have looked at the entirety of the checklist of FPX things that they could do, and they've quite cleanly checked off everything. There's nothing left that they can really do. What do? Steal a Baron? That's about it.
I don't know. They could start doing, if they get up on stage and start doing like a meteor dance. Maybe Ruler will get hit by like a little rock or something.
Well, so funnily enough, Meteor got Jungler of the Week for the last one. Maybe it's auspicious. Maybe that's it. They pray for a mass extinction event as Meteor hits the actual stage.
I mean, that sounds about the most likely outcome if FPX is to get this win. But of course, they could still find some miracle engages, but it does just feel like JDG needs to finish dotting the I's and crossing the T's.
Right. It feels like JDG, they play the pace at their own style. They are one of our slower LPL teams at points. They do like to really look for, again, really good engages rather than just like something which is okay. JDG feels like, though, they get full access to everything they want. Take themselves an easy dragon. FPX, they've not been forced to come to a fight just yet. Baron is available. JDG should realistically be looking at that next. Now, JDG, they have been prone to doing a Baron throw in a couple of times. The one game they have lost in group stage has been to a bit of a Baron flip against TT. That was one of the ways that they managed to spin that game against them. They would like to not do that versus Fun plus Phoenix. Ruler on the flag. Wow, he's just 1v4ing right now.
Yeah, he is, and kind of winning it. Missing goes in, only gets a knock up onto life. We got the flash out of Milky Way. Moving back, Missing actually taking a huge amount of damage. Shot Barrage doesn't land, neither does Leona ult. The Lilting Lullaby only on the Alistar. Missing's just going to walk away, and FPX have just thrown so many ults at a cow.
Flandre, great body blocks at the end to save the cow's life. Not being consigned to the abattoir this time. Yagao, while all this was happening, was pushing up bot lane, but can't get that much done. Teleports right back in after going back towards base. JDG, they take a load of ults, as he just said. They threw them an Alistar, and they can't have it for the Baron fight.
Yeah, that's a bit of a disaster. Now, Flandre able just to step up with impunity, so tanky that he just knows that there's no high impact ults. Does die, but it's traded for the free Baron. FPX is in trouble. They get a blast cone over the wall. They're looking for a fight. Jala, who is powerful, moving forward. Missing is the target. Meganar into the wall. 2 dead. The Baron is still secured.
Yeah, I mean, JDG still walk away with Baron, but FPX are going to slow a lot of this push by, you know, forcing them to retreat, taking 2 of them down as well. No front line available for JDG as they come back out onto the map. Yagao with a Baron buff, though, is still incredibly powerful. He's got himself up to Mercurial Scimitar as well, so he's very happy about that item purchase. FPX need to very quickly corral a lot of these waves into the right position, otherwise this could be the death push coming in from it. Flutter, look, he understands the assignment. He's bullying the team, body blocking them, and just trying to buy as much time so Milky Way can't get in there. Very nearly kills Milky Way to 1v4. How the hell is Cassante allowed to do that for years, by the way? He almost gets a kill in a 1v4. How the hell has that happened? Look, Physic doesn't have flash at the end of this, but, you know, like, what is Cassante doing?
Look, I'm just saying, the way the gold lead is, like, I could also 1v4 and nearly get a kill on
He's 3.5k down individually! How is he allowed to do
that? Individually?
Oh, man, that champion is not okay sometimes. I mean, look, Flandre, he understood the assignment, and again, he gives his life for the greater good in that case. But now, this is the problem. You still have Yagao on this hyper-pushing Tristana who can just push in one lane. The rest of the team can group up and push in another. 2-lane style from JDG, looking over the walls. If they can get a bomb on tower with 5 grubs, which they're going to do now, this is going to be half health in one wave.
Yeah, and they can't even catch Yagao because he's just always got that W to get away. Shallow, who can't find his way onto him, and he's going to lose that Meganar soon.
Yeah, so even though the Baron buff was delayed, JDG very, very happy to just keep walking forward. Good damage from Doctam and from Care, but the ult misses onto Ruler.
Yeah, it's just not good enough. One inhibitor has fallen. Yagao now with a potential flank angle, or just can keep pressing against this inhibitor. Konami dives in, tries to follow up on his own spear. Shallow, who is the one to watch for FPX, has all of the gold. Needs to find a miracle.
Yeah, he doesn't have Meganar. Needs that Meganar. Has that flash. Could be crucial in the next fight. Probably is only one last fight in it. FPX, they have 2 inhibs down. Even though JDG lost 2 on the Baron take, they come in with these extra waves and they push in for 2 inhibs. God damn, those spears are also hurting. Kanavi, don't forget about him on the Nidalee. He is still strong on this. Even if it's hard to play, the Nidalee can very much remove someone.
Ooh, over the wall, finds life, is very tanky on the Leona.
He walked onto the blast
owns him back. I don't know why we've walked onto that, Kanavi. Will be put to sleep. The follow-up is not that scary. It is just about scary enough. Goes gold. Kanavi now tries to hop over the wall. Can't quite do it. The phosphorus bomb will clean him up. But what is the cost? As Ruler now comes in to seal the deal, and 4 members of FPX have been taken away.
Oh, it's barely been a fight this game. FPX fell behind JDG, and I think particularly Yagao and the Tristana has just made their lives so unbearable. Kanavi started things off early, buys enough time in the last fight. Even if he was the one caught, he knows his team has his back. And JDG, they don't even care for the clean sweep of the inhibitors. They're going straight towards the Nexus with their 5 grub buffed up Tristana.
Yeah, why bother? It's only gonna waste some time as they'll just zone Xiaolahu off while Ruler cleans up the Nexus and JDG takes a strong game 1.
Alright, reminder folks, losing games like this for FPX, it doesn't put them out of contention for that second seed of Group A behind JDG, who are already locked into the Ascension group. But losing games like this does get quite costly when the game difference is very, very close between them, EDG, and maybe even TT. If they can beat back FPX to that last series of the group stage, could end up being so, so important. So losing a game like that can end up costing them an awful lot. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Nymaera. This is Carix who's casting with me today, and because there is no official broadcast